Who want one last trip to the long trail?
Let's talk about this tweet from Nee. This tweet from Nee quickly got out of hand and he started arguing with a bunch of people once more, which I think is really funny. He says Season 2 has a lot of homing and follow-up attacks, and homing moves are less risky now. When homing attacks success, the reward is also quite high, which I feel like that's a lot of things with Tekken 8. When your attack lands, you get a huge payoff. Some characters' stacks are too powerful, while characters without stack mechanics feel very disadvantaged. Yeah. Some character guard break moves are also hard to deal with and carry little risk. Yeah, so he's talking about a type of mechanic that people don't really highlight, right? Like if you are a Zafina, a Jun Kazama, a Brian Fury, some of those characters with those stack properties are insane. But then you have characters like Yoshi Mitsu, who I don't even know what that's like. That's not even a part of the game for me, right? The stacks, Yoshi Mitsu doesn't have that. And I'm not saying I want him to have that. I'm just saying this is like me not having a stack. That's a part of the game that I rarely ever consider. But then also when you talk about the guard breaks, this is something that Yoshimitsu had in season 1 that was very powerful and other characters did not. Guard breaks, full combo into a guard break that leads into another combo. Certain characters could still do it in season 2 and it's pretty crazy. Why do you keep making it harder to play defense? Honestly, there are so many homing attacks that it's getting harder to play the game like a true 3D. Activating heat from a stance feels awkward and leads to ridiculous combos, and some characters can't even activate heat while in stances. When they were talking about all of this heat stance stuff, I was thinking about how Yoshimitsu can use it because Yoshimitsu is the stance god. But surprisingly, Yoshimitsu can't really tap into him as much of it. And once again, I'm not saying he should. I'm just saying, like, it's weird. Like, when the developers say these things in a very ambiguous way during a Tekken talk, your expectations when playing the game has a sharp contrast. I mean, that's all of season 2, right? What they said very ambiguously in the Tekken talk was not at all what reality was. And you can even highlight that with like individual stances and how they said it would operate, and then it doesn't do that. Very weird. Very weird. Some characters can be played almost like spam with little risk and their play still works. The size of the map doesn't really matter. Most of the time you can go wall to wall with just 2 spins. What's also important to note as well is that the stages generally are bigger in Tekken 8 than they are in Tekken 7. Like if you look at the Tekken 7 arena versus Tekken 8 arena, Tekken 8 arena is way bigger, but it feels so small because everyone can go wall to wall in that stage, where in Tekken 7 that was not the case. In Tekken 7 there was few characters who can go wall to wall in arena. And I'm talking about go wall to wall while getting max damage, because you could do those little dash jab combos and you know be like, oh, I did it, right? But your damage is going to be shot. But in this game, not only can you go wall to wall, but you will have the biggest damage plus a mix up afterwards. And it feels like you're fighting in a smaller stage. Also, what was interesting, I seen this in a comment the other day, but someone said Harada's one complaint about the beta is that combos were too long. But then in the full game, combos got bigger. Ain't that crazy? Season 2, they gave tailspins to everyone, which exploded the problem. I don't understand why heat recovery from some characters. So this is something that I've seen as well. Because I've been trying to play Tekken 8. I feel like it's my duty as a content creator to play the game and understand more about it. So when I'm telling you guys something, I'm giving you like the most accurate takes. So I feel like it's my duty to a degree. But with that being said, something that I noticed about Tekken 8 is a lot of characters have this ability to gain heat or maintain heat. Azazina, Lily, Raven, so many characters can do it. And then here I am playing Yoshimitsu and there's no way to do it. And I'm like, wait, like this feels crazy. You mean to tell me my opponent can gain more of this super broken ability and I can't? Heat is one of the most deadliest things to ever be put in Tekken. And certain characters can gain more of it while the other characters cannot? Wow. Meanwhile, other characters consume heat so quickly that it disappears almost instantly. Yoshimitsu. And I hate to keep saying Yoshimitsu because I understand people will be like, ah, you're just downplaying Yoshi. But I think what happened to Yoshimitsu going from season 1 to season 2 is pretty interesting, because Yoshimitsu was the most egregious character in a lot of these things. And he was justifiably nerfed. In combo damage and combo travel, in Oki, he was nerfed pretty fairly. The only thing I think was unnecessary was his nerf to the range of down to 2 and the damage on 1-1. Only 2 things that I think was a little too far, right? But other than that, it was so fair all around. But then when you look at Yoshi Mitsu, but then all of the other characters became him. They do his combos, they do his damage, they do his Oki now. And it's like this weird flip. What did people say about season 1? They said, bring all of the top tiers down, do not bring the low tiers up. And that's what they did. They did both, really. They brought the top tiers down. You know, certain characters are trash now, but then they brought the top tiers up, or the low tiers up. And it's so bad. That's not what we wanted. We wanted every character to be made weaker. What was something that was what were people saying going into season 2? No character needs buffs. All characters need to be nerfed. You know, that's what they should focus on. But then they buffed everyone, right? So it was crazy, you know? I don't know. I'm not trying to downplay. I'm not trying to make it seem like I want Yoshi Mitsu to be powerful. I don't. I'm just using Yoshi Mitsu as an example because he is the example. He is the character who was number 1. They balanced him properly, but then they made every other character in the game him. So it's stupid, right? He says, I think these things are lower the overall quality of the fighting game. I don't want to speak negatively about the game, but it's very stressful to play, hard to enjoy. People responded to this, and he says, you're not right. The game is very fun now, but the only bad thing is the rank system. He looked at this person's account, and he says, I see. A Leo player. Enjoy now. I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if you guys know this, but Leo is considered to be quite strong in this update. So what is this one? Someone said, Nee, what do you think about Lee in season 2? He says, I haven't played Lee yet, so I can't give a definitive evaluation. He got a buff and nerfs. There are quite a few buffs, but in reality, some of his main moves have been weakened. Still, he has tools, Brian Fury, quarter circle, quarterback 1, and new pressure option heat, but still don't know if that's necessary. And nerfs OP characters like Brian. Nee says, I think you don't know who is OP. What's your rank? See, here's the thing about Nee, right? Nee be spitting facts, but then out of nowhere, he starts downplaying Brian Fury. Out of nowhere. Blink of an eye, you blink, and all of a sudden he's downplaying Brian Fury. Oh wait, I know this guy. I talked to this guy before. I did an interview where I was talking with, you know, the most recent, the second most recent interview that I did where I was talking with a Kazuya main, and the Kazuya main was talking about the problems with the character and also defense. That's this guy. Small world, huh? Small world. This person says, if a person is right, he's right, regardless of rank. Almost every character is OP. I know you probably want to say Brian is relatively not OP, but you're right. He's not, but he is still OP, right? Nee says, it's ridiculous when a Kazuya player calls other characters OP and he can play like a spam. He's strong right now. Aren't you satisfied with your own character? Could you tell me your profile? Bro, see, I think Nee is tripping here. I think bro is right. The way that I see it, if this guy plays Kazuya and Kazuya is truly powerful like Nee is saying, wouldn't that mean he's more equipped to call out other powerful characters? I'm a Kazuya main as well, and I agree with you, Kazuya is also OP. That's the whole point. Nerf everyone. Everyone is overpowered and they should be nerfed. Just because somebody is playing an OP character doesn't mean he doesn't get to speak anymore. Nee says Kazuya is really strong but not OP. Why nerf everyone? Everyone is not OP. See, Nee is yapping. Nee is yapping at this point, bro. Come on, Nee. Nee is yapping. So you think the same of Brian. If your rank is Rajin, I agree. Everyone is OP. I don't get why you only insist Brian is OP and never say anything about characters like Lars. If Brian was really OP, he would have dominated TWT, but no one has achieved it. It's season 2 Rajin, by the way. And I said a previous tweet that Brian isn't even OP, relatively speaking, that characters are way strong. Bro, look at Nee. Stop, blank, and tell him how Brian has the best counter tools and strings that can control your ideal of range with Kazuya. Hard to enjoy? Well, there's no enjoy in this game. Nee, next tweet, post your balance of change concept so that everyone knows real Tekken is. Don't simply say I don't want to speak negatively. Love you. Nee says thank you. I'll prepare next time. Okay. Yeah, and that's the thing too, right? Like someone like Nee, we can't just be like, oh, I don't want to be rude or I don't want to speak negative. Like you got to speak up and say what's wrong about the game. You have to. The game is just so far gone and the developers have no clue. I think OP is overused. OP would be pre-patch Tekken 7 Leroy and Fakram. Yeah, overpowered is definitely overused.